issues. We are going to have a discussion today about guns on campus. A little bit of history about critical issues. We started this, a group of faculty and staff started this about 3 years ago because we wanted to have a forum where we could have multiple perspectives and have civil discussion, because too often we kind of talk at each other when we have our own point of view, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to really be able to delve into those gray areas. So having civil discussion about tough topics. So that's what we're about today. And we have our guest panelists. I will introduce them in a moment, but first I'm going to have Polly Hawk come up and talk to you about our personal agreement, because that sets the tone for the type of discussion we want to have today.
Hi everyone, it's really great to see such a huge turnout here, it's wonderful. We have this personal agreement that all of our panelists have already agreed to, so they'll agree to it, and you all as well will agree to it, and it will set the groundwork for having a civil discussion. So a few points are, I understand that it is okay to be imperfect with regard to my understanding of people who are different from me. I have permission to reveal ignorance and misunderstanding. I have permission to struggle with issues and be upfront and honest about my feelings. I am a product of my culture, upbringing, environment, and experiences, and I am who I am. I do not need to feel guilty about what I believe, but I do take responsibility for accepting as much new information and knowledge as I can, challenging myself to examine my assumptions and beliefs, granting permission to other members of the discussion group to struggle with these issues and to be open and honest about their feelings and perspectives, and agreeing to respect others' perspectives and feelings, and when I disagree, I will do so in a manner that disputes ideas and does not discount the person. If I could just get you all to please agree to this groundwork.
Can we see some head nods? Yeah? All right, thank you.
So here's how things work. Our panelists will start off about 5 minutes. They'll talk about their perspective and their point of view. And then from that point on, we will have discussion. So that means you can make comments, you can ask questions of a single panelist or all the panelists. So this is truly about having discussion about the topic. Okay, everybody go with that? So today, I'm very happy and pleased to introduce you to our guests. We have our campus police chief, Brett Schneider, over on the far end of the stage here. We have Senator Fitzgerald in the center, and we have Lori Sledaha. I got it right. All right, so they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves and their perspective as we go across the board here. And then we'll open it up for questions and discussion, okay? So, who's starting first?
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to step into the Shark Tank first. If anybody's familiar with penguins, anybody? You aren't? Well, then you may contradict what I'm about to say. Penguins have an interesting way of deciding whether to get into the water and who goes first. They stand on an ice floe because they're only really, real penguins are only really in Antarctica. What they do is they crowd forward and they push one penguin, probably the most unpopular penguin, off the ice floe, and they watch to see if he gets eaten. And if he doesn't, then the other penguins get in the water. And I noticed we do the same thing as humans, as penguins. I am Senator Fitzgerald. I've got a Senate district that includes Western Wyandotte, as well as a part of Leavenworth County. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and to get your feedback on information and to provide some information as well. And moreover, I think if I've used most of my time, or if not all my time, on a video that I thought would set the tone or provide us at least with some information that we could start off with on this very important topic.
Let me make sure that you understand I'm not here representing the NRA. I'm not even a member. Okay? Secondly, I'd like to say that in your opening statement, you commented specifically on my testimony, saying that basically it had nothing to do with this issue. And I had to chuckle because I noticed you had Mr. Brady up here who was hit, not with an assault weapon, but with a .22 caliber revolver. So getting beyond that, I didn't grow up in a house with guns. I don't hunt. I personally abhor hunting. But I was given a gun by a friend when I was 21 to carry in my purse for self-defense, and I was taught how to use it. A couple of years ago, my parents and I went to a cafeteria in Texas on a bright sunny day. We weren't in a dark alley where we weren't supposed to be. And as you all know the story, this madman drove his truck through the window. And he began shooting. Well, immediately, my father and I got down on the floor and put the table up in front of us. And this guy kept shooting. And you're thinking, what could it be? Is it a robbery? That's the first thing that generally comes to mind. And he keeps shooting. It took me a good 45 seconds to realize that this man wasn't there to commit a robbery. He wasn't there for a hit. He was there to simply shoot as many people as he possibly could. Now, I'd like to make something clear. I hear all this talk about how many bullets can go in a clip. I've been there. I can tell you it doesn't matter. It takes 1 second to switch out a clip. You can have 1 bullet or 100 bullets. It doesn't matter, guys. I've been there. He goes, stop. Just like that. That's not enough time to rush a man. I promise you. When I finally realized what was occurring, I thought, I got him. And I reached for my purse. He was maybe 12 feet away. Is it possible my gun could have jammed? Sure. Is it possible I could have missed? Sure. But I can tell you I've hit much smaller targets at much greater distances. But then I realized that a couple of months earlier I had made the stupidest decision of my life. I took my gun out of my purse and left it in my car. Because as you well know, in the state of Texas, it's sometimes a felony offense to carry a gun in your purse. I can tell you that I'm not mad at the guy that did this. As he continued, it was obvious that he was a madman. My father, at that point, said, I just got to do something. I've got to do something. He's going to kill everybody in here. And he rushed the man. No way. This guy turned and shot him in the chest. He went down, was obviously mortally wounded. For whatever reason, that made the man change directions and go off to my left. Shortly thereafter, someone at the back of the restaurant broke out a window. When I saw what looked like an opportunity to escape, I turned around and I grabbed my mother by the shirt and I said, come on, we've got to run, we've got to get out of here. And then my feet grew wings and I was out the back window. As soon as I got out, I realized that my mother had not followed me out. And as I learned from the police officers, she had crawled over to where my father was and cradled him until the guy got back around to her, put the gun to her head. She looked up at him, put her head down, and he pulled the trigger. My parents had just had their 47th wedding anniversary. She wasn't going anywhere. As I mentioned, I'm not really mad at the guy that did this. And I'm certainly not mad at the guns that did this. They didn't walk in there by themselves and pull their own triggers. The guy that did it was a lunatic. That's like being mad at a rabid dog. I'm mad at my legislators for legislating me out of the right to protect myself and my family. I would much rather be sitting in jail with a felony offense on my head than have my parents alive. As far as these so-called assault weapons, you say that they don't have any defense use. You tell that to the guy that I saw on a videotape of the LA riot, standing up on his rooftop, protecting his property and his life from an entire mob with one of these so-called assault weapons. Tell me that he didn't have a legitimate self-defense use. Just one final statement. I've been sitting here getting more and more fed up with all of this talk about these pieces of machinery having no legitimate sporting purpose. no legitimate hunting purpose. People, that is not the point of the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is not about duck hunting. And I know I'm not going to make very many friends saying this, but it's about all rights, all of our rights to be able to protect ourselves from all of you guys up there.
Thank you, Senator. So obviously the point of view that the Senator is representing is he is a pro-gun advocate for guns on campus. And just very briefly, you know, the conceal and carry law went into effect, I believe, 2013. And then there was an exemption for college campuses and universities, and that exemption runs out at the 1st of July. So who would like to be next?
Is it all right if I walk around a little bit?
That's fine.
Okay.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not used to sitting and speaking because I'm a teacher, so I'm always up, moving around and walking around. So I thought I better get down from here before I trip. First of all, thank you, Barbara, for inviting me here. And I never imagined when I signed up to help the college prepare for the implementation of this law and guns coming to campus on July 1st. I never imagined that I would end up on a panel with the chief of police and a state senator. That's quite a surprise. So first of all, I'd like to thank both of you gentlemen for your service to our communities. And I wanted to give you a little bit of background about my personal experience with guns, because I think that always does play into it a little bit. I grew up on a farm in rural Iowa, and I think like a lot of farm kids, my dad taught me how to shoot a gun and how to respect guns as well. And actually my dad was a Marine, his brother was a Marine, and I have several uncles who were in the Army. I have another uncle, my dad's brother, who was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. And my dad was a gun collector, so I grew up with guns, around guns my whole childhood. And I think I understand the emotion that is tied to this subject. So I understand that there are a lot of people who are very fearful of armed assault and someone coming to campus and shooting. I understand that there are people who are very fearful of guns themselves, just as an object. They're fearful of the gun. I also understand that there are people who are very proud gun owners, like my dad, and people who get a sense of security and pride and empowerment by owning a gun and carrying their gun. So there's a lot of strong emotion on all sides of this topic. And what disappoints me, though, about the discussion of guns and policy related to guns has to do with the fact that most of the discussion is emotion-based. And I think when there are important decisions, we need to move beyond emotion-based discussion. So I'm a faculty member here at the college, and I teach in the Physical Therapist Assistant Program. A lot of my students are here, thank you. And as an instructor here at the college, I think one of my most important jobs is to teach my students how to think critically, how to ask important questions, how to gather relevant evidence, how to evaluate that evidence, to judge the quality of the evidence, something in science we call validity. Would you guys agree that we spend a lot of time doing that? You can talk to them after and ask. So, as a critical thinker in medicine, and applying those principles in medicine, we call that evidence-based practice. Because when people's lives are on the line, we feel like a treatment decision needs to be based on something more than just emotion, more than just what we call anecdotal evidence. So anecdotal evidence would be,
you know, you saw someone on TV claim that they lost 30 pounds eating nothing but cookies, right? I'm sure that may happen for a few people. But if we did a controlled study on that, that's probably not the case for the majority of people. So important decisions in healthcare usually aren't based on anecdotal evidence. And I think something as important as public policy, which affects thousands of lives every day, and state laws should also not be based upon emotion, and they shouldn't be based upon anecdotal evidence. I think what we need to do is look at, again, what is the relevant evidence that's available on this topic, and what's the quality of the evidence, and what does it say? So what I'm hoping to contribute today is to share with you some of the information that I learned by trying to educate myself on this topic. And I spent a lot of time researching. And I put together kind of a synopsis of some of the things I've learned. And actually, like my students, I always tell them, don't take my word for it. I use that a lot in class. I say, go straight to my sources, go to my evidence, judge for yourselves. And so today, I actually have some handouts available. I don't have enough for everyone. If you're a faculty member, send me an email, and I'd be happy to send it to you on email. But if you would like to know what my sources are and where I'm getting my information today, please grab a handout on your way out. Okay, so you can, and there's internet links to all of the evidence, so you can go online and judge for yourselves the quality of that evidence. So some of the things that I found during my search, just a quick synopsis, is actually our founding fathers had a lot to say about guns on campus. So Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, they founded the University of Virginia. And when they founded the University of Virginia, they decided that one of the